UK, strange things are happening over there. They are cracking down, and surprisingly so. And I've spoken to the Prime Minister.
Britain per capita is experiencing the problem that we had, similar to the problem we had under the Biden administration.
My experience of going back to the UK now is that everyone is supremely depressed and doesn't think life will get better.
Let's see what happens.
Massive influxes of illegal immigrants without audit or background check.
I'm very surprised to see what's happening. Sad. It's not a good thing. Yeah, please.
Whereas in our case, they came from south of the border. In Britain's case, they're inordinately from the Islamic Middle East. And they've had a series of controversies and incidents and scandals.
Yeah, I was very depressed when I went back to the UK last. I just noticed that there are lots of opportunities for things to be righted in America and put in a more sane direction. Again, we'll see if that happens, but I think there's a great opportunity, this whole set of great opportunities in America. Economic, much more for the country, educational reform, a lot of problems that America needs to address that have now the opportunity to be addressed.
The American people want deportations. They want secure borders. That's why we've had the most successful 6 months of any administration. The president has delivered on his two core campaign promises: defeat inflation and secure the homeland in record time.
The beginning of massive demonstrations on the part of the British, Scottish, Irish, Welsh public to perceived indifference from the United Kingdom Labour Party to the plight of their own citizens. In other words, they're censoring thought, dissent of British citizens, but not in the same manner they are of illegal aliens. And this translates into some very Orwellian and absurd incidents. For example, people either showing the Union Jack or the flag of St. George are harassed by authorities as if this is somehow white chauvinism or insensitive to immigrants' sensitivities.
This is disgusting! Disgusting! What are you doing?
But it's okay for immigrants then to appear equally chauvinistic, waving a Palestinian flag or mobbing in support of Hamas or practicing their religion in a ostentatious fashion. But it comes in a larger canvas, and that is Europe, including Britain, are in crisis.
Whereas Britain, like most of Western Europe, it just stumbles on. It's very depressing, and I noticed
not very inspiring.
I've noticed that my friends there are all wildly depressed. I'm rather surprised at how upbeat I was. Within 24 hours of being in the UK, I was suitably depressed at the equilibrium that was expected about
cortisol
well,
level.
Yeah, actually, I am. It may be a sort of dramatic overstatement, but what gives you hope in any country, whether it's a peace or a war, is whether the people in the country want to fight for the country, metaphorically or literally. And in the last few years, I think since I last saw you, I've spent a lot of time in Ukraine and more so in Israel and the Middle East, and seen people literally fighting for their survival and for their country, and that's always, but particularly in those cases, a very remarkable thing to see.
Europe is in an economic, social, demographic crisis, and one of the manifestations of this is these governments don't know how to handle criticism. These left-wing governments that gave Europe this problem, they're under intense pressure from traditionalists to change their policies. They won't, and it manifests itself in a variety of crazy ways. It's a strange world.
When you then see a de-energized, enervated society, where everyone's split and no one knows how to go forward, it's very concerning. Having few economic opportunities causes everything else to go wrong. I mean, I'm completely persuaded by my economist friends who say, the one job of politics is to keep the economy good, and if you don't do that, everything else can go wrong as well. I think that's true, but it's a combination of the economics, the market not working, growth not happening, wages being stagnant, unaffordability of housing.
Their fertility rate is about 1.4. Their borders are open. They've had millions of people come from the Middle East unlawfully without audit. That unassimilated, non-integrated population probably makes up 15 to 16% of the German population, maybe 8 to 10% of the French population, and 4 to 8% now of the British population. So they're not able to handle their borders. Their fertility rate is falling. They don't have the capital or money to defend themselves. They just barely squeak by making the 2% NATO contributions. There's no way in the world they'll fulfill their 5% obligations unless they radically transform their economies. And more importantly, they have a suicide energy policy of green, solar, and wind power at the expense of plentiful and available natural gas, coal, oil, nuclear, hydroelectric.
Too many Brits walk the streets with slumped shoulders, whispering the same refrain. It will never get better. Has United Kingdom has lost its confidence in the future? Since 2008, the UK has averaged just 1.5% economic growth per year, one of the slowest recoveries in the developed world. Real wages have been stagnant for nearly 2 decades, with housing prices now 9 times the average salary, the worst affordability gap in modern British history. Meanwhile, the cultural climate adds another layer of despair. Once proud institutions seem embarrassed of their own heritage. Even Shakespeare is being sidelined in his birthplace in favor of token gestures to globalism. The police, too, are criticized for chasing online comments while failing to tackle actual crime.
And then plus the just wild innovation of all the cultural crap. I think you can have weak economics but keep strong culture. But if you've got weak economics and weak culture, that's just typical Britain. It's like typical Britain, and nobody knows how to get out of it, because it's the same thing. Everyone now knows. You complain about anything in Britain, online or off, and these weird eunuch-ized police will tap on your door with and none of it's metaphorical. As Konstantin Kisin said the other week about the thousands and thousands of people who've had police come to their door because of saying something critical of their school on Facebook and this sort of thing. It's just bizarre, the weak situation that Britain has got into. We weren't like that. We don't have to be.
Mr. President, you'll be heading to the UK in a few weeks. Yesterday, Nigel Farage was on Capitol Hill. He really was talking a lot about pushing back on censorship online. He was asking politicians like yourself, some of the people in this room, to really push back on that. How concerning is that to you? And Mr. Zuckerberg, if I don't mind, how concerning is that to you, the lack of freedom of speech online in the UK?
You didn't think you'd get that question, did you? He's looking at me saying, how the hell? He's saying, how did I get that question? If you'd like to answer, free speech.
Sorry, I actually wasn't paying attention. But
There seems to be a crackdown.
I wish I could tell you that we're going to be able to stop all interference, but that just wouldn't be realistic. There will always be bad actors in the world, and we can't prevent all governments from all interference.
The British government seems to be cracking down on social media posts, people being arrested for tweets, social posts. Just wondering how concerning that is to you, Mr. President, and Mr. Zuckerberg.
This is the beginning of your political career.
no, it's not.
Is Britain truly in decline, or has it simply forgotten how to fight for itself? Will the UK remain trapped in managed decline, or will its people one day rediscover the rebellious courage that once made the nation great?